In 1970, American trumpeter Freddie Hubbard released two jazz funk albums, and two of his most beloved albums at that, Red Clay and The Black Angel, and from the second of those, the track Coral Keys. Okay, and that was Choral Keys by Freddie Hubbard from his 1970 release, The Black Angel. And basically, it started with a two-note bass figure by Reggie Workman, who would be very prolific in the decades that followed. And it quickly modulated to make way for the trumpet theme, and a hazy, mellow vibe persisted, reminiscent of like late 50s light jazz. Full-on cymbal spray throughout the piece, congas, alternately hummable, free-flowing trumpet theme, light piano accents, a very long resolving melody. Like if my attention got riveted by some part, like I would think to myself, I want to catch what note this begins on, and it would seem to kind of take forever to get. It just seemed to keep going forward. Like one of those. I don't know whether it was like 32 bars or, yeah, that's what I mean by law. And Jimmy Spaulding, who is credited with flute and sax on this album, entered at around 2:45 mark with a flute solo for about 45 seconds. It was kind of high, kind of fluttering. And then pianist Kenny Barron took the spotlight at around the 3:30 mark for another 45-second solo that was alternately light and had some fluid runs put in there. And then Freddie reasserted around 4:15 to return the track to its ensemble shape for the final minute or so of the track. Yeah. That is the closing number on the 1970 release, The Black Angel, and it's the only non-original on the album. It's written by Walter Bishop Jr., who's not, well, it's the only composition written by someone who's not present at these sessions. The album has 3 Freddie Hubbard originals, and then one track, the title track, as a matter of fact, written by Kenny Barron, who would have quite a phenomenal run of jazz funk albums during the mid-70s. I've profiled him before. Anyway, let's hear another track from this album, Gittin Down. Okay, that was Getting Down by Freddie Hubbard from his 1970 release, The Black Angel, and it started out, well, throughout the piece, really, an up-tempo two-note drop, starting things off, and it quickly goes into this unison riff between Hubbard and saxist Jimmy Spaulding, like doubling up on one another, on a melody that I thought was slightly reminiscent of Take Five, of course, with the meter altered. Um, and the sax of Jimmy Spaulding soared outward and kind of took over for a few minutes, starting around the 150 mark. Went through some flutters, some wails, and broke the structure in a few places. Meanwhile, the drumming less cymbally this time, much more tom snare loaded. And there was a long underpinning throughout of this glistening Fender Rhodes sound that emerged into the spotlight to the fore at around 4:25. And then at the 5 minute mark, I guess we had some, would say, the obligatory stand-up bass solo where everything kind of drops out so you can hear the fingers of the stand-out bass. Yeah, you got to have everyone kind of drop out when that happens, or else it would get kind of buried. And then finally the sax trumpet theme recapitulated for the final 60 seconds. Yeah, two great tracks from the Black Angel, the both on side two of the album. Yeah, this album recorded May 16th, 1969 at New York's Regency Sound Studios, with future breakout star Kenny Barron on keyboards. He writes the title track on this album, and also Jimmy Spaulding saxophone, flute, Reggie Workman bass, Carlos Potato Valdes congas, maracas, Louise Hayes drums, and Freddie Hubbard, of course, trumpet, produced by Gil Fuller. Yes. He would release this album, arguably one of his best, I'm just going to say, and a little bit later that same year, Red Clay, perhaps his most popular release of all, and would release a few more quite fine electrified albums into the middle part of the decade. Yeah, one of many great talents on the jazz scene, Freddie Hubbard, to embrace the new age and do so with confidence and style. For more rubies and sapphires from the catalog of Freddie Hubbard and Kenny Barron and other jazz funk greats, see the directory of albums by American jazz funk artists linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard. The interplay, the composition, the structure, the intensity, the soloing, the passages. Yeah, who had the best moment? And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel trim exponist, signing off.